Okay, this is the Vevor 80-gallon 220 single phase air compressor unboxing. The crate came in pretty good shape. Had these ties around it, and then these metal brackets holding the lid on. Comes horizontally like this with the room to get pallet jack underneath. I just used some piano dollies to roll it around. So we'll see what it looks like after I take the lid off. Here you go. Wow, looks pretty well packaged, which is nice. This is the bottom, obviously, and the top looks like with plenty of foam wrapped around it. Yeah, it looks like here the package with the mufflers for the air intakes and a user manual. So set that aside. This would be the drain valve here. Looks like it comes packed or shipped with a little bit of air in there, which I guess is good to keep any water out. One question I had about this air compressor is where this drain is located, and while it's nice here where you can get to it, it does look like there could, in theory, be a little bit that gets left in the bottom even if you drain this. So it's almost flat but not quite, so that's a little bit of a concern. I don't know what the bottom of this tank looks like inside. If the bottom of this has any space between the bottom of this drain valve and the bottom of the tank. I guess I'll maybe put a scope down there and find out. Okay, so here you can see I got the other three sides of the crate off. The only side left is the bottom side. Well, as long as we're here, this will give you a good view of the bottom. The feet look pretty nice and beefy. Crate is, or the compressor is attached to the bottom of the crate with these straps, and I should be able to lift it up because the bottom of this board is a little bit higher than the bottom of the feet, thanks to the way the crate was built before unattaching the very last piece. Okay, got a spot all cleaned out for it to go. Used to have my 60-gallon Husky air compressor in there, which worked pretty good for many years, but just thought it was time to upgrade. Got my 220 outlet there from my old setup. Got my air inlet here that will go into the new air compressor, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, there it is in the right spot. I got these little vibration dampening pads to put underneath it. I got the 4-inch ones, which were big enough for my Husky, but as you can see, they are barely big enough for the Vevor, so I'm going to order the 6-inch ones. So I'll do that. But so far I'm impressed with the finish, and it was well packed. And I ordered the single phase 220 model, so it's just got the 3 wires here. The black and red should be the hot, although I'll verify that. And the yellow I'm assuming is ground, but I'll verify that before I hook it up. So we'll hook it up and see how it goes. Okay, so I noticed this wire was not really fastened with any kind of conduit clamp in here. So I took the cover off, and I can verify that the yellow is the ground. So that's one thing out of the way, and the red and black will be the hot. Going to this relay here to start, or this switch to start the compressor. Both of these wires neither of them have anything really to hold them in as far as a conduit clamp goes, so I may go buy one and rectify that. Okay, so because they don't make a 1/4 inch, they make a 1/4 inch knockout, which is a 3/8 inch conduit clamp for these, but because they don't make one smaller and two of those 3/8 ones together weren't going to fit in here, I just used some rubber grommet, put tape around here so that these didn't slide out. Then I also wired in my auto drain, which is a 220 coil auto drain, so that I keep this nice and always dry on the inside. I am not an electrician. I'm not telling you how to wire this, so don't take my advice. I'm just showing you what I did. So as I was getting ready to install my auto drain, I guess this answers my question from earlier in this video. Tilt tank to drain completely. That's mildly irritating. I shouldn't have to tilt the tank, the entire tank, which could be a tipping hazard, to drain it completely. So I guess what I'll have to do is rig some sort of a chain up behind it and hook it to the eye here with a little chain with some slack in it so I can tilt it and drain it completely, I guess. Not a very great design, I would say there. Okay, so got the plug wired in. And I know the directions say not to use a plug and to just hardwire it, but I chose to use a plug, and so that's what I'm doing. But here we go. First time turning it on. Wow. I like it. It's very quiet compared to my old one. Super smooth, super quiet compared to my old one. Vibration is very minimal, and it's really quiet. I'm liking it so far. The only complaint I would maybe have would be that you got to tip it to drain it fully. I'll finish hooking up my drain, which I haven't finished yet. I'm going to run this cord around back to hide it. But yeah, I'm liking it. So here's another thing that doesn't make sense to me. So I ordered the new bigger 6-inch feet instead of the 4-inch pads, but the directions specifically say to prevent collision and collapse of the machine, fix the machine to the ground with foot bolts before use. Now, I wasn't going to do that anyway. I never did it with my Husky, and it never tipped over. It was just fine. But the instructions tell you to bolt it to the ground, and these instructions tell you got to tip it to drain the tank completely. So those are in conflict. Sorry, guys. Okay, so there you can see the bigger 6-inch pads I ordered off of Amazon. I'll put the link down in the description, but you can probably find them on Amazon there. It's easy. And so I'll slide the littler ones out, put the bigger ones in, and I got my dryer all in. Ordered the brass fittings off of Amazon. Got my pressure regulator, and then that goes into my wall. A little bit of a note, you want to be careful when ordering brass fittings off of Amazon. There's British pipe thread and the standard American pipe thread. So if it says BPT on it, that's a British. And then, not that that's bad, but then all of your fittings need to be the same pipe thread, or they're not, you can't mix the two. They won't seal. So just be sure you get all the correct, or the same, I should say, pipe thread. Here's the solution I've got for my drain. So I ordered this little filter. It's a fuel filter. A 1/4 inch, goes in a 1/4 inch ID tube, and then this is for slingshots. It's a silicone neoprene tubing. I'll put the link in the description to Amazon. But so this will go inside there, and that should sit in the middle of the tank, and then when the valve turns on, it should suck all the water from the very bottom and keep it nice and dry in the very bottom. And that way I don't have to tip this thing when I'm trying to drain the water on it. That's something that Vevor is going to have to fix somehow, because again, their directions say to tip the tank to get it to drain completely, and the first thing in their instruction manual is to bolt the tank down, so obviously you can't do both. Okay, real quick, here's how I decided to keep the tube from slipping out of the nipple that I put into the drain. I just wrapped some really good black electrical tape around it, and then it'll friction fit in there like that. It doesn't have to be airtight or anything. It just needs to keep the hose from sliding down in. So that's the way I'm doing it. And then this will go right over the top like that and into my valve, my auto valve. Okay, so here's the final setup with my auto drain in there, and my tube that goes down to the bottom. I like this compressor. Would I recommend it? The drain problem is something I don't like. If they could fix that, I would totally recommend this compressor. But having to mess with the drain like that, to me, is a safety hazard. Having to tip this almost 300-pound air compressor is a safety hazard. Not being able to drain it completely is a safety hazard. So I like it. I don't like the drain. And hopefully my solution with the tube and the filter in there will fix that. Maybe I'll post a follow-up video later on.